man, this thing, I've been enjoying it, man. I've been having it over about a month now. Took me a long time to make this review, but it is finally here, and I got some good stuff. Got some good stuff to say, man. Some very nice stuff to say, and some very not so nice stuff to say. Let's get into it. What's going on, people? It's your boy. I'm back with another video about the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra. Not the 7, the Ultra. I did not get the Galaxy Watch 7 for not for any particular reason, just because I like that big boy status watch. So that's the one that I got. And I have had this watch for over a month now, and I'm here to tell you, and it's really great. I have a friend who had the Galaxy Watch 7, and it's equally as great. We've been kind of doing some stuff together, so that part has been amazing. But she just wanted it because that's what she wanted. I wanted this because this is what I wanted. So she's a more smaller than me, so I think that fit more of her parameter, what she was looking for. But this Galaxy Watch Ultra, it has been godsend. So let's talk about some of the good stuff about it, right? I've had it for over a month, and the battery life, for the most part, is an average of 3 days for me. Now, those 3 days look different depending on other people. Some people turn on always on display. Some people turn on continuous heart rate monitoring. I don't turn none of that on. I do turn the brightness up pretty high, and I get 3 days. And I do sleep tracking along with the sleep analysis and snoring. So I do do a fair share of actually tracking, but those are the settings that I use on a day-to-day basis. Now, while I did have the watch, I did take it to the extreme and had always on display on, plus continuous heart rate monitor, and then still working out, which reduced me kind of down to around 2 days, maybe, if I was stretching it with some sleep tracking. But those are the times where I kind of just wanted to see how the watch would do if you basically cranked everything up. You had the always on display on, you had the continuous heart rate on, you had the brightness turned up, and that was kind of like what I was getting. Now, I am not doing huge GPS tracking. My GPS tracking usually remain in bike, and I don't ride the bike every day. I'm not a runner outside. It's really heavy on the knees. And as a big guy, you got to protect your knees. So I usually run on a treadmill, which does not include any GPS tracking. But I did do that with this. And again, I got 3 days with normal exercise, about 30 minutes to an hour of working out on a day-to-day basis. In super ultra mode, where I basically had everything turned off, I think I got almost 4 days, but it's not a usable setting for the watch, nor would it be something I would even recommend using for the watch, just mostly because it's just a regular watch. You're not using really any of the smart features, then you could just go get a regular watch. Why would you get this watch? You know, some things that I ran into, for some reason at the beginning, the gesture was not working. I think I got a little update, and the gesture kind of started working a lot better, so that was good. There's also a speaker on the watch, and that speaker I think is a plus, because Apple on their watch, it has a speaker, but the speaker only be used to communicate. This speaker can actually be used to play music through, and that, if you just it's not really that good, but if you see something kind of in the pinch and you want to listen to music, it's there for your convenience. So you kind of got to take that for what it was, or what it is. One of the things that I like that I wouldn't have noticed unless I had an Apple Watch is the sleep tracking. And here's what I mean. It seems like an Apple Watch, you have to put the focus on when you're sleeping, so it'll track your sleeping. You say, oh, I'm going to sleep during these hours, and so you can track it. The Galaxy is different. You could take naps, and it will pick up the naps you take and track those naps as if those were your actual sleep times, and kind of combine, it tells you, oh, you snapped here, you got up here. I think the sleep data is really intuitive in how it presents. And I think the tracking is really great. It doesn't do you have to be in a time frame tracking, especially, somebody like me doing multiple things. I'm got a job, side hustle, doing this, doing that. I think it's great when the watch is kind of picking up when you just get those naps in, because it includes that in your data. You might be able to get to see oh, maybe you shouldn't sleep during that time. Maybe you get to see some suggestions on how to handle when you sleep in at different times and stuff like that. So that's good. Apple, don't give me that. So I got to be honest about those type of things. One of the other things, when I was swimming, and I'll show you that data later, for some reason the watch skipped the lap. It skipped the lap and then it went back and kind of corrected itself, but I don't know, it was really weird. And some of the heart rate monitor started dropping off in some of the workouts. I didn't record those workouts in terms of like I can pull them up, but I didn't record them. But I can see like the heart rate monitor for some reason was like dropping off. I have a virtual game I played with my Oculus Quest 2, and in there was some like drop offs. But again, I think things got a little better as I got that firmware update. Great, no problems. Now, I mean, there's like the true con of this watch is the price. The price is just ridiculous. Another con of this watch, especially the band I got. This orange band is trash. It's supposed to be for large, small, and medium. It's really bad. I don't want to talk about the mechanism system that Samsung is kind of adopting. I like that. That I do like, because it seems like when they go inside, it's better. I don't know if you can see that. It's like better right here. When you have that little thing hanging out, with a little more different. I felt like the fit kind of made it look like a little pinchy right there. But with this new like proprietary setup, I don't feel that pinch. Now I understand for a lot of people, it's a con in different ways, because now they can't use all their old watch bands. And I have plenty of old watch bands that fit that old system. But I think it's time for us to I think it's time for Samsung to kind of introduce a system that doesn't have that pinch. At least for me, that's how I feel. But yeah, the watch band suck. As you can see, I had to buy a third-party watch band, and this third-party watch band was actually good because it has an XL model for, like, you know, people who want that huge straps, which actually helped me work out in boxing because of some things we'll get into a little bit later. But I do know that people talked about the whole not being able to charge in the back of the phone thing. I will say that's not something I took huge advantage of, if I'm being honest. I always just brought the charger just because it seemed like when you did that, the back of the phone heated up a lot. And I was always worried like that would damage the battery more than I would prefer. So I always just kind of brought the charger. But I do understand how some people that feat being taken away was kind of pretty bad. But so my day-to-day experience has been amazing, just because I have a different routine than everybody else has. I don't necessarily follow the same diameter that everybody else follow. One of the other cons is there's no rotating bezel. Now, the software bezel is great, but I understand a lot of people don't like the software bezel. Myself, I don't mind it. I don't think too much of it. It's pretty good. I can pretty much rotate anything I need. I know the hardware bezel looks a lot better and shinier, but if it was going to kick the price up an extra $100, personally, I would say no. But I love the bezel. Like I did the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. The bezel for that watch, man, I love the bezel. Still love that bezel. Nothing against it. But I don't think the software bezel is as bad as people are trying to make it out, especially somebody who kind of uses it on the daily. I don't have no problem with it. That was kind of my cons for it. I didn't see any huge like red flags besides the price, because the price is a huge red flag, and this band. Those were bad. Let's get into usage, right? On a day, I get up, I throw it on the charger. Even though you can shower with it, because I swim with it, I do not shower with it. And that's mainly because I put it on a charger and let it charge. Like once I got the battery testing out today, I kind of put it on like regular charging, right? And what I normally do is I'll get up, take my watch off, I throw it on a charger, take my shower, do the morning routine, maybe get some breakfast or something. And before I go out, I usually put it back on. Now that way, I usually keep it charged enough to never have to worry about battery life. I'm not somebody who just charges at night because I track my sleeping. So I found it a lot easier to charge in moments where you're not doing anything. Like if I'm just getting up, taking a shower, there's no reason for me to track that stuff. I'm getting up, taking a shower, getting ready for the day. I don't need those few couple of steps I might get during that process of tracking. So I usually just keep it on the charger. Boom. It's usually pretty good in battery life for that point. So I'm almost never have to worry about it actually dying. Now that we kind of discussed the battery and how I did that, how I went about those tests, we discussed what my normal usage of operating this watch. Let's go into workouts. So the first one we're kind of talking about is boxing. Now in my boxing workout, I did not wear my Apple Watch. And all my other workouts, even now, I'm wearing both watches. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm not getting sponsored by nobody or getting paid by nobody. Nobody can send me an early review. So they're both going to be in this video because that's where my comparison is going to be at. For my Apple Watch, I did not boxing with it just because the band I have don't really stretch the way, it don't stretch enough for where I need to. And that's what we kind of talked about earlier. With this band I have on now, I'm kind of able to put this really far back on my wrist and still put my boxing glove on. One of the biggest problems I have is when you put your boxing glove on, it smushes down on the watch and it kind of hurts your wrist right there. So I found it a lot easier to kind of move it up, and it worked. No problems. Still was tracking my heart rate, everything. It was super great. I had no issues during my little boxing session. So one of the other workouts I did was we went biking, right? Now, biking, I did take my Apple Watch with me, and I did track the workout on my Apple Watch as long as my Galaxy Watch. So most people who are benefiting from, like, you know, the track, the watch being super accurate, you know, they bike for like a living or like treadmill and stuff like that. I bike for exercise. It's pretty great. I'm in an open area for the most of the part, so I never had a problem with GPS ever dropping or anything of that nature. So we're just gonna look at, we can look at strokes, cadence, see if the heart rate is kind of the same, see how the route went along in terms of the data formed up. You could do that with you. Well, I think they both did perfectly fine for what I was doing. I do not have a chest strap. I know that is something that people usually use for like a bottom line, and I'm gonna get a chest strap. I'm gonna get one. Just, you gotta give me some time. But this testing did happen without that chest strap, so the heart rate data is what it is. The last workout we're gonna talk about is swimming, right? So during the swim session, there was a point where the Galaxy Watch added laps that I did not do yet onto the trail. So I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But later on, I don't know if it like auto-corrected. It kind of corrected the laps, and now it was back to what the Apple Watch said, which is what my count was, right? So the Apple Watch, for the most majority, it went straight through, no problem with the swimming and everything. Like, we can even look at here, we look at the heart rate. The Apple Watch did seem to be a little bit on the low end, especially for what I know it was more intense for me. The Apple Watch didn't seem to be tracking that part, or it didn't do a good job of, when I increased the intensity on my swim, the heart rate didn't seem to really kind of be there. The Apple Watch did seem like it did a better job at tracking the different strokes I did. The Galaxy, as you can see, it put the butterfly in there a couple times, and then it started getting the breaststroke right, and then it put the butterfly in there a couple times. It just seemed like it was a little bit struggling trying to track those swim strokes that I was doing. So, you know, unfortunately, Apple Watch did do better in that portion of the category. But they both tracked the swim fine. Both gave me good metrics. I had no issues. So, but I have the Apple Watch Ultra. I do want to state that this is the Ultra version versus the Ultra. This is not a version or a comparison video. This is more of a just giving anecdotic data so that you can see kind of like where am I coming at in terms of when I'm comparing and stuff. So during workouts, it was great. I had no issue with it. I even went into the sauna. I was in there for like 15 minutes. No overheating. It went great. I didn't have to worry about anything. This is the LTE. It is LTE. I do not have that activated. I do want to say I do activate it though. Just because it's closer to the non-season where outside workouts probably won't be that much possible. I do activate LTE, and the number one reason I do activate LTE is because I listen to music on the watch. So that is something I have not been able to try. I have to try that just because working out, listening to music, everything we did on the watch. I mean, no phone. I usually don't take my phone with me or anything like that. I think it's better to just ride with whatever you need, which would be just the watch and some headphones, and that's all I need. So I wasn't able to particularly get that, but in terms of connecting to headphones, listen to music, it worked fine. So the Galaxy Watch has been on my wrist for a month. I have particularly really enjoyed myself. I think this watch will definitely get, and y'all see the new logo, hopefully the new logo is here, the big fella stamp of approval. It's good. The band doesn't. I don't think the band is really that great. I think it's even worse when you have bigger hands because you're like at the end of the band and it's like you just 1 or 2 knocks and you're squeezing yourself or it's super loose. It's just there's no way to get that good tight fit you would want on your wrist where it's not like killing your circulation, but it's not sliding down your wrist. I have particularly put a lot into this video. I really wanted to thoroughly test this watch because I like these watches. Okay, so now we know it. What I recommend buying, I want the watch, but I would say for majority of people, no, I wouldn't recommend it. I think for big guys, I would still say no. And not because it's not a good watch, just because I feel like in working out with my friend, her watch was pretty much doing the exact same thing. A lot of the features that might make the Galaxy Watch different are not going to be used by the average person. And that's who I represent, the average people. If it's not going to be used by the average person, it really don't make a lot of sense. Right? Those differences that you get doesn't necessarily, I don't think they're enough to persuade your opinion that way. I think if you were on a tight budget and you wanted to get a watch, I would say the Galaxy Watch 7 is almost just like the Ultra. The only feature is truly probably missing is there's more battery life. The trainer is the training AI or some of the features are more in depth due to the Galaxy Watch Ultra, and the build quality is different. This is built a little more sturdier and built to take more beat up. Is probably the proper word to say there. So all that said, Galaxy Watch Ultra was amazing. I had fun going through this. I'll be keeping this on my wrist permanently, working out with it. I can't wait to go snowboarding with it because on my, and I have to say these things, man, because this is the way I use it. On my Apple Watch, when I choose snowboarding, it does not give me GPS data at all. On my Galaxy Watch, when I chose snowboarding, even though I haven't went, it brought up GPS data. So it brought up like calculating my speed, even though I kind of got a different way of how I'm gonna do that on my videos, but this brought up calculating my speed. So I'm gonna be like, yeah, I get to like see my snowboard workout, how fast I was going in some of the slopes and stuff like that. So that's gonna be very interesting. But without any further being said, appreciate y'all coming to watch. Like, subscribe, comment below if you have any suggestion on what I can do next or anything I could have did differently in this video. I appreciate all feedback. If you don't think this video is good, smash the dislike button. I completely understand. I take great feedback in what I do here. I am still building and growing, and I hope you can grow with me too. Without further ado, peace.